it's me again, Arlene, and again, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening wherever you are in the world. But most of all, I hope you're keeping a good attitude despite and in spite of COVID. So, in today's Philippine retirement video series, I will be. This is actually more of an urgent appeal because I've come across uh, some some scientific ideas that I want to share with you. And I'm not sure if you know, but I actually work in healthcare. So as much as possible, I try to be in the loop about gene editing research and longevity research, aging research, and the thing is, we might be sidetracked of a real time bomb issue here, which is aging. So yes, we know we are all retiring, but do we expect that we're gonna live like forever in the next couple of years or decade even? So there's so much going on in terms of scientific and longevity and cancer and gene editing research that the chances are the 60-year-old retirement or 65-year-old retirement age that we have right now will be like 80-year-old. We might be 80 and feel like we're 60. So a lot of progress makes it possible for normal people to live like to 100 and beyond, and it's not impossible now, even with the scientific technologies and breakthrough that we have now, and how much more a decade from now. So some some scientists are claiming that in 10 years, by 2030, death can be optional. Now, when you have all of these breakthroughs making your life so much more, prolonged, and you were not thinking of this. You're thinking maybe 70, 80, 90 you'll be dead, but now you're thinking maybe 120 you're still alive. So what's going to happen then to your retirement money? And this is something that we should really think seriously about, because you can only retire with so much money. Inflation will eat away on your money. And if already at this point in time you're struggling to pay your bills from paycheck to paycheck, then you've got to think in terms of decades. Not just when I retire. No, you have to make planning by the decade. So, and this is where Philippine retirement ideas or retiring in Southeast Asia comes from, because as we all know, Southeast Asia is a fairly hot market at the moment. You have a lot of companies listed in the US stock exchange whose market is primarily in Southeast Asia, and it's getting a lot of love and attention from hedge funds and investors. Not because of they want to pump and dump these stocks eventually, but because they know that the growth will be happening in this region. Yes, you have Middle East, you have North Africa, but there's like an advantage when it comes to Southeast Asian economies. One, most of them are democracies. Two, they're water secure, because climate change is going to change a lot of things. And one of the things is water security, and you don't have that much of a risk when it comes to water security in Southeast Asia than say in North Africa or in Middle East. Third is the fairly young demographic. Southeast Asian population and nations are very young. Fertility rate is high. So you've got all of these factors, plus the economy is very young. So rent is still cheap, office space is still cheap, educating the population is cheap. Students doesn't have to burden themselves so much with so much debt and student loan just to get through college and get themselves ready to work. And you have all these positive factors which points to growth being in Southeast Asia. As much as I want to tackle each Southeast Asian countries, I don't have that information. I wouldn't pretend that I have that information, but I am from Philippines and I can share what I know about Philippines. So one, you have to plan in decades. If you know you're going to live significantly longer and you're only expecting this much of a pension, and they say that, inflation is 2%, which of course is not true, because all you have to do is look at the prices of goods and you know it's not just 2%. So inflation away is eating on your money year by year. You know that you can only get so much growth year on year from your pension money with your pension manager or whoever is handling your pension. So you have to act now because time is running out. Investing is more of time in the market, how long you are in the market, and timing is everything. So how are you gonna secure a quality of life given the amount of pension that you are expecting at retirement, and all of these factors, increasing healthcare cost, increasing care needs, inflation, and everything else. So especially with the backdrop of you probably living significantly longer because all of these scientific breakthroughs are making life so long for everyone. So again, we come back to the idea of retiring to a country wherein rents are cheap, it's relatively low capital intensive to start a business. And again, I'm not saying you're gonna have like very crazy valuations in Southeast Asia. But over time, because the growth is going to come from the region years from now, a decade from now, 2 decades from now, the same thing that you saw in China, in Singapore, in Malaysia, in Taiwan, you're going to see that in Southeast Asia because now this is the area that's still cheap at the moment. So you have to go where growth is going to happen. And you have to think early, you have to think in decades because you're probably going to live until 100 or 120 even. So again, this is more of like an urgency appeal. If you have a population like in Philippines where fertility rate is high, most couples would start a family. So you have market for your goods, you have fresh young workers joining the workforce, then the market has people to sell the goods and services to. And if already money is tight where you are and you have some capital to spare to lease out or have a property to live in relatively cheaper than where you are and some capital to start a business, I would say go to franchising. There are viable businesses. Make sure you set it up in cities where population is dense and you're gonna have customers all the time. It might not have like crazy profits like in your country, but again, everything is cheap in third world countries or in Philippines, and that will give you still a quality of life that's probably as good as, if not better, than where you come from. Because at the end of the day, it's about how much each good costs. How much does your rent cost? How much does utility cost? How much does food cost? And how much does entertainment and recreation cost? Because you're retiring. At some point, you would want that, to enjoy the fruits of your labor and have like cheap travels, cheap dining out options, cheap cinemas to enjoy, cheap carers if you're at that point where you need additional care because of deteriorating health, and cheap access to insurance, to healthcare facilities. So it's best to not just live in the city because there are more people to sell goods to or to start a business to, but because in the city you have good access to internet, you have good access to hospitals. And again, I want to make this urgent appeal because this is going to be the trend forever. It's not going to change. People are going to live longer. People are going to live to 120, people are going to live to 100, people are going to live to 180 very easily, and I want you to be prepared. And in the next couple of videos that I will be sharing, it will be about cities that's near Manila that you can possibly, relocate to. Because the nearer you are to the city or the nearer you are to Manila, the more densely populated it is, the best quality of life there is, in my opinion. Some people would rather go to the provinces, but for me, healthcare access is much, much important. So in my next video, I will be discussing the cities that you can probably relocate to if you want to try living in Philippines for a couple of years or for a couple of months just to try out if the population is the right fit for you. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. And see you next time. And COVID or no COVID, always keep a positive attitude towards life and towards retirement. And the key to retirement is planning ahead, planning early, and planning smart. So have a great day. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.